Welcome learner, my name is Shibaji Debnath. In this tutorial, I will be talk about NestJS Middleware. Okay, and I already 5 tutorials published before on this particular topic, and I wanted to try to complete series on this particular framework. And interesting thing is, end of this series, maybe I will be talk about something AI related topic with the NestJS. So if you are like that, so write the comment section. We want AI tutorial with NestJS, and definitely I will come with AI based tutorial with NestJS very soon. Okay, let's start it. This is the middleware part, and middleware is the very important part when we are making any application, and when we are make any application, so that time users are actually passing some parameter through the URLs, through the forms. Anywhere we can send the some data to the server with the various way. So for that particular purpose, if we try to generate some data, or if we passing some request for some particular URLs or some particular controller, whatever you want, so that time we need some middle programs which need to be works for something related, some configurations. Maybe sometimes we can create something used for configurations. We can use something for extra data securities, filtering. So many things we can be uses for the access, because some users, when they wanted to access our API service from the server side, so that time we can handle that data as per our own process. That particular data is valid or not. If client's data are valid, so then we can accept that data. If that data is not valid, so then we can reject that data. This is the actually main things, and this particular thing may be uses for the login authentications purpose. Various type of purpose we can be used actually. So for that particular purpose, we can create some chunk of programs with the particular files, and that particular program process are calling middleware. So thing is, this is the client section, that means browser, and browser when are sending the request, so first hitting the middleware, and middleware checks the data, and then routes handle the request map. Okay, so that means if middleware pass the data, then request handler can be work. If middleware not accessing that data, not permitted that data, so route handler not working. This is the actually flow of middleware. Okay, so you already understand. So directly dive into the code. What is the code actually? So here is the some coding examples which already have. I just explain you how it working. So here is all the code already written by the documentation section. I actually write this code as per your knowledge expansion. I can write these particular things for you. Okay, and also I explain you how it works. Okay, so go to the API app section, which is already created by me previously, and at this moment we need to be create a middleware. Okay, so first thing, when we are using the NestJS framework, so NestJS framework have nest CLI command line interface, which is short form is CLI, and this CLI mode can be access so many things quickly. So if you want to know about what kind of schema we can be create, so just I use the command like this, nestg and -h, and after that we can see the output of the schemas. Okay, so this time I just wanted to create middleware. It is the actual name and short form is mi. Okay, so this time I wanted to create a nest, and after that I just create G, that means generate, and also I want to mi. So after creating mi means middleware, and this time I wanted to create a logger. Why logger? Because if we are create a logger class, so we quickly seen how middleware works. So for that reason I actually use logger here first time, but if you want any other name, so you can do that, but this time I wanted to see how can accessing the middleware into the request time. So for that reason I just create this particular file to explanation. Okay, so already created this logger middleware, and when it created this logger middleware, so this logger middleware is very simple part, not so much complicated things. It's very simple, but thing is, when it created, so after that here we can use some options like log output. Actually here we can use log output through this way also. So if I create a log output through this process. So this time we can see the output through this way, request middleware. Okay, so I just wanted to see how it works. So for that reason, I just simply calling it request middleware. Okay, so when it created, and after that I just simply start our applications through this command line process, and after that if I open it, so actually I refreshed it. This time I could not see anything changes in this section because this middleware are not applying on any other router request, because when we are creating any request section, so then we can be use this particular class. Okay, so how it works? So this is the actually middleware, and this middleware have implementations with Nest middleware interface, and that particular interface have use method, and that use method have three type of processes, which is actually comes from the express.js. Okay, and this request means request, and this request actually comes for express.js framework. Okay, so for that reason I just assign it as a request, because request is a parameter, but here actually using the any, but any is not a proper data types. So for that reason I just assign the data types on this section, and after that I also set up response, which is comes from express. Okay, these two things are required from the express.js. Okay, so this is the request handling process. Also we can use the closer function, and this closer function, next function, and this next function, actually this is the next parameter, and this functions actually is a next function. So this particular next functions also comes from express package. Okay, so these three data assignment are required for this particular thing. Okay, once it assigned properly, then we need to be applied this particular middleware for particular section, because this time this middleware not applying anywhere. So for that reason we could not see any request middleware output anywhere. We cannot see any output into this log section also, and also we did not see any log output in this section also. Actually when we are creating any output for the front end, so that time we can see the log output from the browser section, and when we are working with the server side section, so actually NestJS working for the server side part, so this login part are actually seen in this section. Okay, so actually this time we are not seeing any output anywhere. So this time I need to be registered this logger function, this logger class, when we want to access it. So for that reason here we need to be implement that particular module, and for that purpose we can use it nest module. And when we are implement the nest module, so then we can see the implementation options of this particular function, and this particular function is called configuration. And when we are actually getting the configuration, so then we can get the module function. This time consumer functions are actually here, and this time this consumer object need to be applying here. So when I actually applying the consumer dot apply is a function, and after that we already created logger middleware, and that logger middleware need to be assigned in this section. Okay, and after that we can assign that middleware process for every routes of our application. So for that purpose here for routes, and here we can assign star, means every route accessing before, when we want to access any route, before that logger can be applied for every URL. Okay, this is the actually thing when we are getting any request from the user section. So first logger middleware hit for checking the data or anything it can be, and after that routes can be accessed after middleware can access the route. This is the actually process. Okay, so when it accessing, so after that we can see the request middleware. So this request middleware actually accessing, and this time we can see the request middleware. This is actually part of requesting options. And we can also, if we have any other URL like hello, so if we are getting the hello message, also we see the same middleware name also here. Okay, if we want to need some confirmation, so that time we can also use the URL name we can be pass from here, and also if we are passing the URL, and also we can check the URL part. So URL or params we can be accessed, and this time we can see the parameter name hello. Okay, so this is the actually parameters which is hello. Okay, so this parameter robot.txt parameter, so many things are actually are calling automatically from the browser section. So when we getting the data a request from the user section, so that time we are getting the output from the front end part. Okay, so you can see the output everywhere. Okay, so every times when we are actually accessing any of routes of our application, so that time every time we can see the options of that time we are accessing the middlewares every time. Okay, so here is the concept of accessing the middleware, but how it works. Basically, it is the examples of middleware, but how can work the middleware? So middleware is actually if we want to access hello by name, then we can be accessed. Otherwise, this particular URL cannot be accessed properly. Okay, because everywhere we want to see the request middleware options. So this particular middleware are accepting the requests, but when we want to get access for admin section, so this admin section also accessing the request middleware options. But this time I just simply use some little auth options where we can use some token to access for middleware. Otherwise we cannot access the admin page. Okay, so how can do that? So this is the process. If we are actually want to access the token, so for that reason here we can use the request query, and after that here we can use token for 1 2 3. Okay, so this time we can use the token for 1 2 3 4. If a token is success, then we can enter the URL. That means we can access the admin path. If not, then response can redirect to the home. Okay, so this is the actually example of our thing. So this time double equal need, and this is the request middleware token. This middleware tokens are required. So this time if I create it, so every time it's cannot actually accessing any pages, because this time everywhere middleware tokens are not accessing properly. Okay, so it's actually not good practice. So this reason we can terminate the process, because this particular requests are continuously calling from the front end part, and sometimes your system will be hang for this process. So never do this thing. Okay, so first thing, when we want to access the admin section, so that time here we can assign if we want to access the admin path. So for that particular purpose we cannot see the any admin path, but otherwise we can see the another routes also. So for this particular purpose our logger are only working with the admin path. Okay, so when we try to go for admin section, so we could not go to the admin, because when we want to access the admin path, so that time request middleware token. Okay, so this time if we want to access the middleware, so that time we need to be admin section, and after that we need to be use token, which is actually uses there 1 2 3 4. If we are using that, then we can see the URL after using that. But why not seen it? So thing is, here we are not applying the else part. Actually every times if our next are applying, but also response also applying after this process. So for that particular purpose maybe it does not working properly. So once again try, and now yes we can see the admin home. Okay, so this is the admin homepage section. If we are missed out any extra word, so then we cannot see the output. Okay, so this is the very basic way to check the token process, and these particular tokens can be accessed through this middleware. Okay, so when we wanted to visit this particular path, so that time our logger middleware are actually filtering the data to accessing this process. If we have another URL like user, so if we want to use the user path, we can also applying this particular section for users also. This time we can also same things we can do for it, and when we want to access particular user path, so that time we can also use same token for accessing that particular URL. Okay, so when we are actually accessing the URL with the token, so then we can get the JSON API output from this. Okay, so this is the actually process to applying the middleware. Okay, you could understand. So this is the one way to accessing this middleware. Also we can access this middleware through the controller process also. If we use any controller section, use the admin controller. So for this particular purpose, if we want to accessing the controller for this particular process, so admin controller is a separate with the admin module. So for that particular reason we could not be use this particular module in this section, and for that particular reason we can remove this process from this particular file, and after that we can also remove from this section because error messaging, but it is not actually error, it is actually warning, because if you are not fixed it, your application does not be stopped. And now we are actually using the admin module. Need to implement nest module section, we need to be configured middleware consumer, we need to be applying here, and after middleware consuming here we can consumer part, and now we can apply. This time I just simply use the middleware process. So this is the another way where we can applying the middleware process where middleware can be accessed, and after that we can applying the routes of. Okay, so this time we wanted to access the routes of admin. Otherwise we can also set up here admin controller also, which is a representative of admin controller, because this particular path also represent the admin path. So for that purpose we can same thing can be used in this particular section. Okay, so this is the another way where we can accessing this particular thing. Okay, also we can use this particular things with another way, like if we are use any particular security dot ts, and here we can use the functions name like export admin middleware, and after using this process you can also applying all these things passing through this particular way. So this is the another process to using the middleware, which is called as a security. So we can apply as a function name admin middleware. We can also access the admin, and after this we can applying the middleware functions like this way, and it also works same thing. The admin middleware, if we are using with the token, so that time we can get the admin homepage. Okay, so this is the process where we can be accessing this particular way. Okay, I already give you the 3 examples with the different kind of uses of middleware. Also we can directly applying the middleware in this particular main.ts also. How can work that? Actually our application start from the main.ts file. So for this particular purpose, this particular middleware uses process are actually working from the express.js process, because express.js can be handled this kind of processes for the middleware. So here actually using the express.js underlaying in the NestJS framework. So for that reason express.js procedures are completely applying in this particular framework. If you have good knowledge on express.js, so you can understand these processes also very good, and if you don't have this kind of knowledge, so you can also see this particular tutorial, and after watching this tutorial you can be understood everything very easily. Here we can use another way which called use function, and after using this function here also can be accessing the particular things which is also a middleware process, where we can accessing this way also, and this is the process which is actually accessing the security process through this way. So actually if we are enable cross origin resource sharing, so this is the actually function which is similar like this thing. We can also write this particular way into accessing the function. Okay, so this is the process where you can access your API very easily, and if you are using this particular things you can access your application very easily. Okay, so this all the things I actually discuss with you, and it is everything about the NestJS middleware. And if you are like my tutorial, so hit the like button on this tutorial, and if you wanted to know about anything, so you can comment me on this channel. And also I have so many tutorials, software development related tutorials in my tutorial channel, and stay connected with me. And one more thing, if you are seeing this tutorial, definitely like the tutorial, and also if you are new in my YouTube channel, so subscribe my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell icon for another tutorial when I published any new tutorial. So stay with me and I will be connected with you next learning video.